In this lesson video, we will cover several techniques for structuring the table inside Excel. We will cover how to insert columns, rows, and cells. Then we will also learn how to remove them. To insert a row, let's say we want to insert a new row between row 5 and row 6. First, you need to right-click on row 6. Remember, it is not row 5 that we pick, but row 6. Then choose Insert here. Since we currently have a row selected, Excel understands that what we want to insert is a row. To insert a column, the concept is basically the same. Suppose we want to insert a new column between E and D. What we need to right-click is column E, not column D. Then select Insert. A new column will appear between the previous D and E. Now, what will happen if we perform the insert command on cells instead of columns or rows? For example, we right-click on this cell with the text data Jones, then select Insert. In this case, Excel is not too sure whether we want to insert a column, row, or cell. So a window will show up to confirm this. The two options below will do the same things as we just discussed before. This option, Entire Row, will insert a new row above this row, while the option Entire Column will insert a new column on the left side of this current column. What is new are the two options above. We use these two when we want to insert cells. This option will push other cells and their data to the right, and this option will push them down. Let's try this Shift Cells Down option. Click OK. We can see now we have a new empty cell, and the other cells in the same column were pushed down. Let me undo this using Ctrl Z. Now, if we right-click again and select Insert, but we choose this one. Just like before, we also have a new empty cell, but the other cells which are in the same row as the current cell are pushed to the right. To delete columns, rows, and cells, the method is actually similar to the insert technique. Suppose we want to delete this row. Just right-click on the row, then select Delete. Likewise with columns. To delete this column, for example, we can right-click on the column, then select Delete. Then to delete a cell, we can select this cell, for example, then right-click and select Delete. This option is used when we want to remove the entire row. This one is used when we want to remove the entire column. Basically, the concept is similar to the previous insert technique. For example, if we try the Shift Cells Left option, then click OK, the cell has been removed, and the neighboring cells to the right are pushed to fill the empty cell position. I undo again. Now, if we right-click, select Delete, then choose this option, we can see that the cell has been removed and the cells underneath are pushed upward. One thing you need to pay attention to is the use of the Delete key on the keyboard, because many beginners try to remove the entire column by selecting the column like this, then press the Delete key on the keyboard. Instead of deleting the column, the Delete key on the keyboard will only delete all the data in that column. In terms of structure, the column itself was never deleted, and this also applies to rows. So again, this is something you need to keep in mind when you want to perform a delete operation. Do you intend to remove the column or the row, or do you intend to remove only the data in that column or row? The next thing that we need to discuss is determining the necessity when performing the insertion. What I mean by that is, for example, let me open our previous exercise file. In this worksheet, we have two tables, this large table and a small one next to it. If we want to insert a new row between row 6 and row 5 only in this large table, you should not do it via the insert row method, because if you do that, we can see that this table will be affected also. For this case, we should use the cell insertion method instead, as we discussed earlier. So first, select the cells that are in row 6. Be careful not to select the cells in the other table. Then right-click, then select Insert. Since we want to insert rows, we need to choose this Shift Cells Down option. And now we have new empty cells in this table without breaking the structure of the adjacent table. To remove cells inside adjacent tables, the process is basically the same. Suppose we want to remove these cells. Click drag to select the cells, then right-click and select delete from the pop-up menu. For this case, the best option is Shift Cells Up, because if we select Shift Cells Left, of course, this will break the smaller table next to it. Click OK, and we can see the result like this. The final technique we want to discuss is inserting existing data by using cell selection. If we have a selection like this, for example, in the past few lessons, we've learned how to copy-paste and cut-paste using cell selection. What we haven't discussed is that we can also use this cell selection rectangle to insert or slip data. The method is similar to the cut technique, but we need to do it while holding the Shift key. So, hold down the Shift key, then move the mouse cursor over the edge of the selection rectangle until you see an arrow symbol. Then click drag to move the content. As you drag the content, you will see a preview line where you will paste the content. If the preview line is horizontal, this means the surrounding cells will be pushed down. But if the preview line is vertical, this means the surrounding cells will be pushed to the right. If we let go of the mouse here, for example, you can see the data that was in these cells now pushed to the right. You can also use this technique to swap the position of columns or rows. Let's say you want to swap this column with this column. First, click here to select the entire column. Then hold down Shift and move your mouse cursor over this side. Then click drag and move it to this location. Then release. We can see this column, and this column has now switched places. You can also do this to switch rows. The technique is similar, so I'm pretty sure you can do this yourself.